What's up, wild ones? I don't want to make this video. Well, I'm getting to the point where I want to, but I didn't really want to. God woke me up in the middle of the night with this message, and I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. Like, you want me to talk about that? There's no way. There's absolutely no way, right? I know it's a little dark here, but in the sun, it's really hot, and I'm not going to do it. I love you, but I'm not doing it. So here's the thing. Very often, we are going to be given a task. There's going to be a mission, a task at hand that we don't want to do. And it comes from the divine. And you know it's coming from the divine. And you were like, I am not ready. I got to do all the things first. I got to get the body right and tight. I got to get all the money. I got to grow the tribe. I got to perfect my storytelling. I'm not quite sure what problem I solve. I got to work on my client avatar. I got to do all the freaking things. I got to go to the events. I got to hire the right mentors. I gotta. Before, like, okay, yes, and I'll get back to you, God. I'll get back to you on that thing that you're putting on my heart to share with the world. I get it. I know. Here's the thing. Here's the issue with that. It's been given to you for a reason. It's been given to you now for a reason. If you do not speak that truth into the world when it's given to you, that moment is going to pass you by. The people you were meant to impact in that moment are not going to have the medicine that is burning a hole in your soul right now. It is selfish of us to allow ourselves to get so lost in our own crap, the old stories that we are telling ourselves about who we are and what we can and cannot do right now. It's selfish and it's irresponsible as artists, as creatives, as visionaries. We are here to help mend the fabric of our planet, our collective at this time. If we do not do that, we are being irresponsible with the gifts that we have been given. That being said, I didn't want to sit down and do this video because what God woke me up with, and I'm going to segue into how this is going to, I'm going to segue into how this relates to sitting down with the Muse, okay? So what he woke me up with, the big guy, universe, God, divine, was this: Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter. Now, if you're already triggered, put your seatbelt on, okay? Because we're going deeper. In case you didn't notice, Black woman in America. America, this is America today. And this is me living in America as a Black woman, as a creative, as an indigo. What that looks like is that Black Lives Matter means a whole lot to me. As a creative who is growing a tribe, growing the message, right? The art that's in my soul. Very often I can fall into that pattern of, oh, but what do I do? There's all of this work that needs to be done, but what can I do? Besides throwing money at a problem, right? Like, besides calling a senator, what can I do? I do not have all the answers. If you haven't been with me for a while, I don't give you the answers, right? I open you to the questions. I open myself to the questions. I allow ourselves to expand our capacity to hold God, to hold the divine, to hold our gifts, to hold the magic and the medicine that's burning a hole in our soul so that we can do the work that we're here to do in a way that completely turns us on so that we live in this energetic ecstasy and conscious co-creation with God, art, and soul every single day. That is the work I do. That is what I help my clients do. That is part of the mission, okay? So I'm not giving you the answers. I'm opening you to the questions. And one of those questions that I have all the time, oh, what do I do? What do I do? So one of the things that I do is make these videos, right? Because it's burning a hole in my soul, and so I share. So Black Lives Matter, and also Blue Lives Matter, which is, if you haven't seen that, right? The blue line, cops, police officers, agents, law enforcement. If you don't know, I grew up with, when I was a kid, my mom and my grandma raised me. And my grandma was a cop. My godfather, who was also a cousin, was also a cop, right? Deputy chief, actually. Cop. They were both cops. After school, when, so we lived in Connecticut, my mom worked in New York. If I didn't have a babysitter, I got to go to the police station and hang out after school. Cool kid number one right here, eh? And so I'd go and hang out. And I learned one very young age when my grandma put me in a cell. I was not about that life. No, thank you. That constriction and that taking away of freedom, oh no. Two, I learned that officers are just people. They're just people. They have problems and family stuff and dreams and desires, and they like to laugh, and like they're humans, right? They're all just humans. And they're all bringing their own shit to the table, just like us. And so, interesting, right? That I'm at this place where I'm like, how do we speak to both? Because when it comes down, and I will probably do a video that goes deeper into Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter in some way. I don't know, it hasn't come through yet. But what it comes down to is love, okay? What happens is that we forget that that they're also people, and that they're also coming with their stuff, and that they're triggered, and that they've got trauma, and that they are bringing what they bring from where they are in the moment. All of the hatred, the atrocities that are happening in our country, in our world right now, when we forget love, when we forget who we are as children of God, when we forget that others are also coming with their own stuff, and we're so consumed with our own thing that we decide that someone else is less than, that their story, their life, their family, their dreams, it's all less than, right? And I think I need to do like woke Wednesdays or something like that, because I just got to get this, like we got to speak to the matters at hand in the world, right? We got to speak to this as artists. What's the point? If we're not speaking to it, what is the point, okay? You can paint the best picture, but if you're not actually changing the world with your art, then I don't care. Not sorry. What are you doing with your life? What am I doing with my life? What are we doing with our lives? If we are still in a space where 10-year-old Black children are being murdered simply because of the color of their skin, when we are also in a space that law enforcement are scared to they're scared to actually go out and talk to the community, which would actually help, right? It would actually help if everyone could recognize and see the God in each other and see the love in each other, but they're so afraid that they're like, let's just shoot first and, figure it out later, right? Let's bring this to why it matters that I sat down to do this video. I didn't want to. I'm sweating and I'm in the shade, right? I'm hot and I didn't want to do this video because who am I to talk about this? Who am I to talk about Black Lives Matter, to talk about Blue Lives Matter? I'm not a political journalist. I'm not this person who studies all of the trends and is on, whatever freaking MSNBC. I'm not hanging out with Rachel Maddow. That's not me, right? So how can I speak to these things in a way, if you haven't been with me a while, then here's the thing. What matters is you actually understanding why you're here and creating art that matters. And in order for your art to matter, you've got to start speaking stories that get people to care. Because if they don't care, nothing's going to change. And your stories also need to move people into action. You've got to be able to be so connected to who you are and get through your own inhibitions and like get completely raw and wild and free in what you're speaking and what you're sharing in the world, that people that they, what is that? What is that? What is that freedom? What is that light? What is that message that that person is sharing? Because if you're hiding and you're ashamed of your messaging and you're not willing to show up, then no one's gonna care. Which means that you don't get to change. You don't get to have the effect, the impact, the significance that you know you're here to have. We all matter. We all matter. And yeah, that whole hashtag about all lives matter. Yeah, we get that. Black people aren't saying that other people don't matter. That's not the point. And when we purposely miss the point, when we are being obtuse, when we are like, oh yeah, but what about me? We are trying to take the weight and the responsibility of actually looking at what is happening in the world. We're trying to take that weight off our own shoulders and saying, yeah, but what about me? Oh, I see your problem, but what about my problem? What about my problem? And if we can allow everything to have its space and honor where anyone else is, right? We can begin to shift the fabric of the world. We can begin to see each other and to heal together, okay? So, why this matters that I sat down. I didn't know what I was going to say when I sat down. I usually don't. I just, say, all right, use me, God, and boom, let's talk. So when I sat down, it hit me. Oh, I live at an intersection. Not saying I'm going to become a political journalist, right? I cuss a little too much. I don't think they want me on telly. I'm at an intersection, right? I can speak as a Black woman in America, right? In the world. And also as someone who grew up with law enforcement. Like, actually, like, my grandma had, like, bullets on the kitchen table. Like, hilarious. Like, just so funny. Like, complete another story for another day. But let's just say, right? So I can speak to this intersection. This is where your art lives. This is why you might start to peek up and care. Hopefully you cared already, but this is what I want you to know. Because this is what I know today. We all live at some sort of an intersection. Things that we've been through, things that we've seen, things that we've done, things that have happened to us, things that we've participated in and never did and never spoke up, and then we like resented it for the next 2-3 decades. We live at an intersection. We walk the line between 2, 3, 4 different worlds from who we are, simply from who we are. Are you actually putting that into your art? Are you allowing your art to be so infused and lit up and electrified with all of the edges that you're walking? We're all edge walkers, right? So we live at intersections. We live in the spaces between worlds. Your art needs to be infused with those spaces, with those intersections, with those edges. That's how you polarize. That's how you get people to lean in rather than tune out. So if you want your message to make a difference, if you want your message to get people to care, if you want your message to move people into action, you've got to look at your own life and look at those intersections, right? Where can you show up in a way that other people are not showing up? How can you create art from your own life, from those edges, that allows people to, what's that? Oh, interesting. I'm intrigued. Tell me more. Show me more. Help me, inspire me, embolden me, empower me. Like, people want what you got, but you've got to understand those edges, how you can walk them and how you can infuse them into your art. Because that's where the nectar is. That's where the impact lies. That's where your wealth, your joy, your abundance, your that radiance and that health, that freedom, that lifestyle, all of those things that you think someone else has the answer to, you already have the answer, right? It's already inside. Now, if you want some assistance and guidance unpacking that, right, then that's where a mentor can come in super handy, right? If you want me to be the mentor, just DM me on Insta. Let's chit chat, right? But you've got to understand, and whether that's me or someone else, that's where the mentor comes in, so you can unpack that genius, that IP, the edges. You can unpack the edges and actually infuse them into your message and into your art in a way that moves people. You can do it on your own. Your mentor just helps you get there faster. Your mentor helps you to keep walking those edges when you want to pull back. Because there's always going to come a time. I didn't want to sit down, right? I didn't want to sit down to do the video. Because I was like, I don't want to talk about this stuff. I'm not ready. I haven't done enough with my art, with my impact, in order to speak to these kind of issues. But no one started making a difference until they started making a difference. That's it. Okay? So, yeah, comment below and let me know some of your edges. What edges are you walking? What edges have you walked that you can now allow to be infused into your art? How are you going to change the world with who you've been, who you are, who you're becoming? All of those edges. What are those transitions? What are those spaces in between? What are those vectors, right? Boop, 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 in your life. How are you going to use that in your art? How are you going to infuse it into your art so that you can have the impact that you know you're here to have? That thing that wakes you up in the middle of the night, burning a hole in your soul, like, oh my God, I've got to get this message out. If I work another day in this job, if I do another gig, if I travel doing what I don't want, I'm working for someone else, I'm living a shadow life, a shadow career, I'm in a shadow relationship where I'm not truly stepped all into this yumminess, this nectar that I'm here to be, that I'm here to have. I'm not embodying it at the level I know I'm here to embody. What are those edges for you, right? I want to hear. I know this is a super freaking long video. I hope that you're still watching. If you are, I love you to pieces. Yeah, all right, that's it. If this resonates, make sure you subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Boop. Make sure you hit like. It really does make a difference to get this message out into the world. Share this out, right? Like, share. Tag a friend if you're watching this on Insta, all that, Facebook, whatever it is. I love you guys. Let's get this message out. Let's keep this vibe going. I can't wait to hear from you. I love you. The sun's coming, so I got to go.